I think we should start, I think. Okay, we'll start 6 o'clock. Okay. Om. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ प्रपञ्चसृष्टिन्मुखलास्य कायै समस्तसंहारकताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपित्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां हरिः ओम्. एको वारिजबान्धव क्षितिनिभो व्याप्तं तपोमण्डलम् भित्त्वा लोचनगोचरोऽपि भवति त्वं कोटिसूर्यप्रभः वेद्यः किन्न भवस्यहो घनतरं कीदृग्भवेन्मत्तमः तत्सर्वं व्यपनीय मे पशुपते साक्षात् प्रसन्नो भव हंस पद्मवनं समिच्छति यथा नीलाम्बुदं चातकः कोकनदप्रियं प्रतिदिनं चन्द्रं चकोरस्तथा चेतो वाञ्छति मामकं पशुपते चिन्मार्गमृग्यं विभो गौरीनाथ भवत्पदाब्जयुगलं कैवल्यसौख्यप्रदम् रोदस्थोयहृतश्रमेण पथिकश्छायां तरोर्वृष्टितः भीतस्वस्थगृहं गृहस्थमतिथिर्धीनप्रभुं धार्मिकं दीपं सन्तमसाकुलश्च शिखिनं शीतावृतस्त्वं तथा चेतः सर्वभयापहं व्रजसुखं शम्भो पदाम्भोरुहम् अंकोलं निजबीजसन्ततिश्रयस्कान्तोपलं सूचिका साध्वी नैज विभुं लताक्षितिरुहं सिन्धुसरिद्वल्लभं प्राप्नोतीह यथा तथा पशुपतेः पादारविन्दद्वयं चेतो वृत्तिरुपेत्य तिष्ठति सदा सा भक्तिरित्युच्यते आनन्दाशुभिरातनोति पुलकं नैर्मल्यतश्चादनं वाचा शङ्खमुखे स्थितै च जठरा पूर्तिं चरित्रामृतैः रुद्राक्षैर्बसितेन देववपुषो रक्षां भवद्भावना पर्यङ्के विनिवेश्य भक्तिजननी भक्ताद्भकं रक्षति मार्गावर्तितपादुका पशुपतेः अङ्गस्य कूर्चायते गण्डूषाम्बुनिषेचनं पुररिपोः दिव्याभिषेकायते किञ्चित् भक्षितमांसशेषकबलं नव्योपहारायते भक्ति किं न करोत्यहो वनचरः भक्तावतंसायते. So starting this Ankolakam, Ankolam Nijabija Santatihi. Very beautifully three shlokas, one after the other. So, as I was saying, Shivanandalahari is a magnum opus on three dimensions. Shankaracharya shows himself as a Kavi. Beautiful alankaras, beautiful similes, so many that we have seen. And who can say bhakti better than Acharya and Shivanandalahari? That's why, Moksha Karana Samagryams Bhakti Reva Garaisi demonstrates it in Shivanandalahari. And in his very characteristic style, there is a lot of Vedanta Tattva also. So that is the charm of Shivanandalahari which we have been seeing. And so therefore, this whole episode that we have been seeing from the beginning, very beautiful descriptions of the manobhava of a bhakta. Look at this, bhakti janani, bhakta is a arbhaka, and bhavana is the paryanga. How beautifully the choice of words, the kind of bhava. See, bhakti is all about bhava. So Acharya has brought that bhava so beautifully in every one of the shloka that we are seeing. Now this last shloka which we saw last class, the Kannappa Nayana's story. I mean, we can go on and on. I just took an hour to just tell, but there are two things which I want to tell you, which comes out very strongly when you reflect on this. See, these educated people, the Panditas, you know, Vedic Pandits, educated people, there is this feeling. They first think that they know how things to be done. I mean, there is some meaning to what they say. After all, they have gone through a certain Shastra Jnana and so on. Therefore, they think that that is the way to do things. And when something else happens, which is not the way they see it, as per whatever Shastras they know, then there is this feeling that, all these are wrong, these are not the way. That doesn't work for bhakti. That is what is coming here. Bhakti is bhava. Bhakti is not shastra. Bhakti is actually bhava. So while that acharya, that Shivacharya who comes and does puja, as per whatever Agama Shastras and Vedic knowledge he has, what he does is right. But by no stretch of imagination, we should be able to actually compare it with what is being described here and say this is inferior. So that is the background of the story. So the point is bhakti, shastra, the knowledge, the Veda, the knowledge of Sanskrit, or the knowledge of Lokajnana, let all you put on one side. If you take a Tulabara and put all of them on one side, the bhakti, bhava on the other side, in that Tula called bhakti, this will be weightless. In the sense, there is no comparison. So that message also subtly coming. Because this tendency uh, we have to extend this thought. See, we think this is the way to do. And therefore, if somebody does it a little differently, then we tend to think, we develop a certain udasina bhava. We think that's not the way to do this. People doesn't know it and so on. That message is also coming through it. The other message which comes through this is bhakti. In fact, it's not about bhakti. That's why Krishna also, Bhagavad Gita, he said, Swadharme nidanam sreshtam paradharmo bhaya. Every one of them have a certain dharma acharna. See, the Vyadha, who is a butcher, he will do what he has to do. Right? That is the Vyavaharika Drishti. The Paramarthika Drishti, you should not, carry, the residuals from there into the Paramarthika Drishti. So, a hunter, a vanacharaha. A vanachara only knows to do a few things. Don't expect him to do something else. A Vedic Pandit knows to do certain things in a particular way, right? Whereas a butcher knows what to do. And if you want to express bhakti, he will find a way to express bhakti. That is what is getting conveyed here. That ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भजाम्यहं मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः. That's what he's saying. All roads lead to me. To say this is the only road, this is the highway, all others are not necessarily the way to. I mean, all those are prakrit, understanding of bhakti. So that is all coming through this shloka. And the last thing I mentioned last time, look at the ending of all this shloka. All of them ends with ayate. You know, the kyang pratyaya they say in Sanskrit, which says this is not something, but it appears to be that now. In Tamil, they say illadadu aiduthupa. It wasn't there, so it has become like that. So that is the sign of exclamation. So he says, kurchayate. Etat kurchaha na. Parantu idanim kurchavat. Sakshat kurchaha eva. Right? Abhishekayate. एतत् गंगाभिषेकस्य समानविषयः तस्मात् अभिषेकायते because this gandambu nishechanam cannot be a padartha for abhisheka, but it has become abhisheka. So that grammatical structure also you see here. Let's say navya upaharayate. It doesn't seem to qualify as upahara, but actually it is a navya upahara now. And this Vanachara, in as I was saying, people can just dismiss him, saying, what Bhakta? That's why Vanachara, who may not qualify for a Bhakta, has actually become a Bhakta. Very beautifully, Acharya. That's why Shivanandalahari has everything. You have grammar, you have subtle ways of expressing, you have the alankaras, you have the meters. Such a beautiful text. So this is where we stopped, and the last class. So what we will do is we will take the next two shlokas which are connected to one another. The 64th shloka. And lastly, once to remember, once again to remind, 63 is about a Nayanmar. There are 63 Nayanmar. So Acharya has put it as a 63rd shloka. As much I said about Ankolam, Nijabija Santatihi. In our design lifespan, 120 years is divided into 60 and 60. This is the beginning of the second 60. That's where he brings bhakti. So even there is room for even to interpret things like that in Shivanandalahari. So 63rd shloka is about one of the 63rd Nayanmars. In the pecking order, he was much earlier. In the 63 Nayanmars, Kannappa Nayanar was a little earlier than many of the Nayanmars and so on. Anyway, all that we spoke last class. So we'll look at the next two shlokas, which are connected to one another. Just close this floating control. Okay. वक्षस्ताडनमन्तकस्य कठिनापस्मारसम्मर्दनम् भूभृत्पर्यटनं नमः सुरशिरः कोटीरसङ्घर्षणम् कर्मेदं मृदुलस्य तावकपदद्वन्द्वस्य किं वोचितं मच्चेतो मणिपादुका विहरणं शम्भो सदाङ्गीकुरु. In fact, this Kim Vochitam, there is a Pata Beta is also there. There is Gauri Pate. In some renderings, they say Gauri Pate, not Kim Vochitam. Some say Kim Vochitam. I mean, it's okay. I mean, that's because the substantive part are elsewhere. So that is okay. So, let me first do the Padacheda and then we'll get on. So, Vakshasthadanam Antakasya. Antakasya Vakshasthadanam, actually. Vakshasthadanam Antakasya. Okay. Katina apasmara sammardhanam. Samastapata. Katina apasmara sammardhanam. Bhubhrut paryatanam is a samastapada. Okay. Namaha surashiraha kotihi asangarshanam. These are all in Sandhi. Karmedam mrudulasya. Tavaka padadondasya is a single samastapada. Kimvochitam. Kimva uchitam. Kimvochitam. In Sandhi it has become Kimvochitam. Machetah Manipaduka Viharanam Shambho Sadangi Kuru. So there are two stories. In Shivanandalahari also he brings this Shiva Leela Mahima also. So there are two stories involved here. So I brought some graphics to just remind us. Remember this shloka. So it says, Antakasya Vakshasthadanam. Antaka is Yama, right? So, Yamasya Vakshe Tadanam. Krishna, Shiva stamped on his chest. So there is a Purana story. The Markandeya story is there. Okay, that is what is being indicated by that padam. Then there is another story which comes with a person called Apasmara. Okay, Katina Apasmara Sammardhanam. So let us see this first. Okay, so there is this Mrikandu Rishi. So the story is Mrikandu Rishi, did tapas and then finally he was blessed with a child. But the option is a very interesting option. I think about it every day in my life actually. The option was simple. He said, do you want a child who will live only 16 years? For you, very good child. Or you want a fellow who will live 100 years? But he need not necessarily be a very sadhuputra, satputra. So what is the choice that you need? That is the question. Okay. So Mrikandu went for the former option. That no, I want a child. Satputra is more important. Okay, everybody has to go one day. So 16 years is okay. So he is Mrikandasya apatyam puman Markandeya. That's how the word Markandeya comes. It is a Taddita. Mrikandu, his putra is Markandeya. This Markandeya became a great Shiva Bhakta. Father taught him all that to him. So the appointed day has come. Because Kala is the greatest timekeeper. That's what in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita also, in one of the 72 vibhutis, he talks about that also. That's what he says. Chalayatamaham, there is a one of those 72. So he keeps his time. So the appointed time has come. So therefore he first sends the Yamadutas. Yamadutas find him doing, puja for Shiva. He said, because in fact, Antakasi Antaka is Shiva. Antakantaka. There is this one word, this thing is there. Antakantaka. Antakantasi Antaka. So he is the master of that. There's no, in Sachiroparishad, if you remember that, you have to remember that. Bishasma Dvataf Pavate Teti Surya Agnistur Yascha Mrityur Dhavati. Mrityu which is Dhavati. And seeing him is afraid. All these works on that cosmic order. They are all owe their allegiance to this Parabrahman. Shiva is the Ishta Devata form of Parabrahman. That is the Vedanta Tattva that we have to take. Right? So he is the Antaka's Antaka. So these Shivadutas said, no, they just came back. So, Yamadutas. Then Yama himself came to take, Markandeya and go. That's how the story goes anyway. So he does the alinganam of the lingam because he is completely in. But Yama puts his the pasha on him, and that means he covered the Shivalinga also. So the boss got very irritated. Particularly, the greatest vitality of Devata is visible when something happens to the Bhaktas. That's why they give this example. Sun is not powerful. The heat of the sun which falls on a granite stone, which is on the prahara of this thing, you can't walk there. This is more powerful than that. So the bhakta is more powerful than the god. A true bhakta is far more powerful than the Isha is under his adhisthana. That is the bhava, the highest level. So Shiva got very annoyed. He actually, hit him on his chest. So that story is what Acharya is recollecting here by that first pada in the first half of the first pada that you say. That's why he says, Vakshasthadanam Antakasya. Okay? And before we go further, another very beautiful thing which we have been seeing in Shivanandalahari is the mind is portrayed in many ways, right? He said, Kapali Bhiksho me hriday kapi matyante chapalam. Then he said, mind is like a tent, mind is like a forest. Kirata Arjunya, that example was brought, right? Yeah. Hridaya kapi madhyanta chapalin, that's what I said. So different portrayals of mind. Here he says, I am offering my mind as a paduka for you. That's where all these stories are coming. So that's what final pada is saying, that Machetaha manipaduka viharanam shambho sada angikuru. Let my mind be your shoe, because so many acts are happening with this leg. That's why this story is coming. And why the mind is to offered as a paduka? Mind is so hard here. You need a hard bottom to mridula. Look at the previous third pada. He says tavaka pada dvanda is so soft. Your pair of legs are so soft, and you have to do some very important acts. You hit on the yama on his chest. How much it would have pained you, and don't you need a protective gear? My mind is very hard. It's a very protective gear for you. You please use it. So like that it is. So here in this shloka, anyway, I forgot to tell, the mind is being portrayed as a paduka or Shiva. Now the question is, why do you need a paduka? So that's where all these Shiva Leela from the Puranas are coming. So he says, you hit Yama. How difficult it would have been hard. Your Padara Vinda would have got hurt. So I need to protect that. Use my mind as your Paduka. So that is what is coming. Vakshasthadanam Antakasya. Then comes the second one. Katina Apaspara Sammardhanam. This apasmara has actually different meanings. In fact, first time I heard the word the apasmara is in Subramanya Bhujangam. It's a very famous 25th shloka. Apasmara kushtakshaya cha brameha joronmadi gulmadi roha mahantaha pishasha cha sarve bhavat patra bhutim vilokshyat tarakare dhruvante. See, this vibhuti they give in Trichandur. You had the Kumbhavashikam just now. That vibhuti is given on a leaf, patra. That ಎಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ವಿಭೂತಿ ತುಂಬ ವಿಶೇಷ. So Shankaracharya, when he went, Subramanya Bhujangam is another beautiful shloka. 33 shlokas are there. So in the 25th shloka, he says apasmara kushta. He says, so apasmara is one of the vyadi. That's my first understanding of the word, and it also has a meaning here. This apasmara has 2-3 different meanings. A Vedantic meaning. There is a, if you take a kaika vyapara, then apasmara is a vyadi. Actually. So he says, apasmara, kushta, kshayarcha, all those, your decreased vitality, all kinds of diseases will all be cured by this. That's what he says there in Subramanya Bhujangam. So that is apasmara. But the Puranic story is, see, there are a few learned pandits. For some strange reason, they developed hatred towards Shiva. So they actually did a great yajna just to, get somebody to, right? He is that apasmara who came out of that, this thing. And Shiva was so angry with him, with the whole thing. So he, sammardhanam, that's the word he uses. Katina apasmara is the word. Why Katina is in the next question. Okay, before we going to that. So Shiva started constantly pounding him. That's what he did. And where do you find it? You find in two Swarupas. You find in Dakshinamurti. You find in Nataraja. Nataraja also you'll find. He'll be actually dancing on Apasmara. The next thing I put the photo, but here I put the Dakshinamurti. You find Apasmara here. Okay. So Apasmara was, so again Shiva used his leg to keep hitting him he got very angry with the whole thing. That the Puranic story. I'm not getting into the details of that. So when he hit him, then the question is, why is he hard? I'll use simple science. In science, we are told that if you go from gaseous state to liquid to solid, just look at this transition. What happens is, as something is in gaseous state, the molecules are not packed tightly, they are very loose. So, it's very soft in that sense of the term. Moment you graduate to the next level, which is, let us say, liquid state, molecules are little tighter, no? Closely, so it is hard. In a solid, molecules are even tighter, so it is even harder. So this fellow who is he became shorter. So when he becomes shorter, please come, please come. So when he come, so when he became shorter, so obviously he became very hard. Sit here, come here, sit here. So he became very hard. So that's why Katina Apasmara. He became even hard to, so you have to really, hit him very hard. So how difficult again the leg would have pained. That is one Puranic story. But this word Apasmara, Apasmarati iti apasmara. So this is a certain kind of a disease in which you lose your consciousness. Fits also is called apasmara. When you get fits, you lose your thing, no? So fits is also called apasmara. But in general, apasmara is that disease in which you have lost your, whatever you learned, your knowledge is gone. I mean, that is the worst thing that can happen to anyone here. Whatever be the knowledge, whether it is paramarthika or vyavaharika, let it be any kind of knowledge. If we lose our knowledge, we have lost one entire, literally one janma, no? Because whatever we have gathered is gone. What are you going to do with that? So that's why apasmarayati. The smarana is gone away. The memory has gone away. So therefore, I don't have the memory anymore. So this is another meaning. The third meaning of apasmara is also very. That's why it is Dakshinamurti. He is below Dakshinamurti. The apasmara is under the control of Dakshinamurti, because one of the biggest problem all of us have is our jnana is apasmara now. That we are, Vayam Sarve Amritasya Putraha, the Shvetashwar Upanishad. Vivekananda said, we are all children of immortality. We can only say. It's only a piece of knowledge. There is no experience of it. Why? Because that knowledge is somewhere gone. It is there and it is not there. That is Vedanta. It says that Vedantic knowledge is the only knowledge, unlike chemistry, physics, maths, or accounting, or finance, or management, where you have to inject it into your brain and then therefore you know. Whereas that I am divinity is a knowledge already there. It is only covered now. You have to peel that layer. Once you peel the layer, it's like Aditya Vajnanam Prakashayati Tatparam in chapter 5 of, it says, Ajnanena Avritam Jnanam Tena Muhyanti Jantavaha. Then the next sloka, Krishna says, Aditya Vajnanam Prakashayati Tatparam. When you remove it. So that removal is indicated by Dakshinamurti. That is why it is also indicated in a very figurative sense. You see that this ignorance which is overpowered us, so we think anitya is nitya. Nitya, we don't know what it is. So that viveka is gone. We go after perishables. Permanent we have left. We have gone after perishables. Everything we pursue in life is perishable. Strictly. Okay? Kalona yataha vayam eva yataha is what Bhartrihari says. Time did not consume us. We were consumed by time. I mean, we did not consume time. Time consumed us. Everything is ulta. But our understanding is the other way. To even to remove that, he needs Vajnana. And that's why he needs his Karuna Kataksha is required. So that is another way. So he says, and that is very, very hard to remove. Jnana is very hard to remove. It is a repeated effort for us to understand who am I. Very hard to remove that ajnana. It's a katina para. So we need, Shiva Kataksha for us. He needs to put his Padara Vinda on us and then keep, stamping this apasmara which is inside us. All those we can actually start interpreting. That's what the Dakshinamurti Swarupa is coming. So anyway, the Puranic story is that apasmara is constantly being hit and kept under control by Shiva. So again, the foot has a lot of work to do now. So Shankaracharya says your foot will be very painful. How much of work you have to do, and you need a protective gear for your foot. So that's the second part which you are seeing there. Then he says Bhubrut Paryatanam. Shiva is known to be all the time in Paryatana in Kailasa. In Kailasa, he is always seen to be going there, and you can't walk on the roads of Bangalore, even with whatever now in a hilly track and forest and where roads are not made. If somebody has to do a paryatanam, then again it's a very painful effort on the part of the two legs, no. So he says Bhubrut Paryatanam. That is a third example he gives, and then he gives the fourth example. Namas Surashiraha Kotihi Asangarshanam. Suras are devas. Shira is their head. In fact, there is one 17th shloka, I think. We have already seen this. In the 17th shloka of Shivanandalahari, Acharya has already talked about it. Exactly. So that is what is recollected here. It says, Paladva Punyana Mai Karunaya Vatai Vibo Prasannepi Swaman Bavadamala Padabjayukala. How am I going to see your two padas? Because these devas are all already on a line and then they are offering their worship. So I am not able to find your pada Ravinda. In the next sloka also he continues, 17 and 18 of Shivanandalahari, you find this sloka. That is what he is bringing here. He says, this all these devas are offering their pranams, and when they are offering their pranams, they are not removing their kirita. It's too much here. The headgear is too much. Now, Indra is a king, so he's even bigger. Okay, all that. So he says every time when they do their namaskara to you, I'm very worried it will hit your hair, it will hit your leg. Because it will have Vaira, Vaidurya, some sharply made, everything will be there. I am very worried that you will run a risk of injuring your legs. That is the example he is giving. He says, Namaha Sura Shiraha Kotira Sangarshanam. Koti devas are all the time worshipping you, right? So that has a big risk of your foot getting, you know, injured in the process, or all that kind of a thing. So he gives four examples here in the first two lines. He says, Vakshastadanamantakasya. You hit so hard on the chest of Yama when the Yama came to take Markandeya. It would have been, very painful on your leg. Then you are constantly, doing a dvamsa of this apasmara, right? Shiva is doing the dvamsa of apasmara 24/7. The apasmara is inside here. All of us carry so much of apasmara. It has to be removed, and it is only his kataksha which will remove. So he is constantly, hitting on the apasmara which is part of us, right? Then, this paryatanam in the Kailashagiri and all these. Then he says, karmedam, all these activities that you are doing. And how are you doing that? With your mridulasya, padaka, tavaka padadvandasya. The two pairs of your foot is so mridula, so soft and flowery. With that, you are risking very high because so many things are happening. Kim va uchitam. Is it the right thing to do? No, no, no. Your legs will get destroyed, and as a bhakta, I cannot afford to see that happen. So what do I do? Macheta Manipaduka Viharanam. So take my mind as the Paduka. As I told you, mind is a very ideal candidate for a Paduka. Mind is so stubborn, so hard material. So, you should make a shoe with a hard material, the hard meaning sufficiently hard material so that your foot is saved. Right? So he says, Macheta Manipaduka Viharanam Shambho Sada Angikuru. Please take my mind as your chapel, that let it protect your Padharavinda. So, yet another beautiful description of mind. A mind as a very useful, gadget for Shiva, right? In one of the sloka, he said, "You have everything. Shirasse Sitamso, Charana Yugaste Akila Shubhav, Nikataste, Kubera is by my side. Kamartam Dasyeham Bhavatu Bhavatartam Mama Manaha. I will give you something which you don't have. You have everything in the world. Your Kubera is at your Akila Shubha is on your foot, right? On your foot lies the welfare of everybody. I can't give you all that. I mean, if you got to go and see somebody, and he is a Karorpati, what do we take here? They will have everything. So Shankaracharya faced the same problem. He said, what do I give to Shiva? Shiva has everything. We'll give my AC. No, he has AC here. Shiraste Shitamsho. The Chandra is there. He is Chandrasekhara. The moon is supposed to be cool, no? So I can give him an air conditioner also. So what do we do? Bhavatu bhavatartam mama manaha. Throughout, I have been saying this repeatedly. Throughout Shivanandalahari, the discussion is about manas. Manas is manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. There's only one entity which we have to take care, which is the manas. If we know out, I mean, you can argue it Vedantically, you can argue it from a bhakti perspective also. That's why throughout he says, what is this bhakti? Swasarupa anusandhanam bhakti rita vidhiyate. Knowing your true nature is the ultimate knowledge of bhakti. And if you have to do it, your manas should not just, escape away into the world and create chitta vritti, which is completely distracting us as a personality, as a human being. No point in, feeling bad about it at the age of 70, 80. That's too late. So throughout he finds single pointedly take manas and tries different things by which Shambudhyana is Sarovara. Come, either he says give it or you come in. But it's all about manas. You just see again and again he talks about only manas. That's how he is going. So this shloka continues. The idea contained in this shloka actually continues. In the next shloka. वक्षस्ताडनशङ्कया विचलितो वैवस्वतो निर्जराः कोटिरोज्ज्वलरत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं कुर्वते दृष्ट्वा मुक्तिवधूस्तनोति विभृता श्लेषं भवानीपते यच्चेतस्तव पादपद्मभजनं तस्येह किं दुर्लभम्. Anyway, I brought the other Sarupa because that Apasmara is also under the feet of Nataraja. When he does the cosmic dance, he keeps this Apasmara under control. Like the Dakshinamurti is keeping the Apasmara under control. So the Sanketa is, in Dakshinamurti, when you see Apasmara, what you understand is he is the embodiment or the source for removing your Ajnana. When you see Apasmara in Nataraja, what you see is he is the source of taking all these Kayika Vyaparas which create problem, the disease called Apasmara, he will leave it for you. That is the Sanketa that we can see even in a Nataraja Darshana and so on. So he says, again he uses Vakshastadana, same episode he recollects here. Vakshastadana Sankaya. Vichalitaha, Vaivaswataha, Vaivaswataha, we have to stop there. Then comes the second one. So who is this Vaivaswata? Vaivaswata is Vivaswan's Puman, Apatyam Puman, Vaivaswataha. Right? Vivaswan is Surya. Is it not? So Surya had two sons, Yama and Shaniswara. That's why Vaivaswata here, it doesn't mean Shaniswara. In this context, it means Yama because it is, Yama was hit on the chest, na? Same story. So the Vaivaswata here indicates Yama, not Shaniswara. but they are the son of Vivaswan. Vivaswan is Surya. So Vaivaswataha Vichalitaha. Why? Because Vakshastadana Shankaya. When he got this hit from Shiva, he had a doubt whether he will exist or not. So he was so worried. So he went away. Or he that's a kind of continuation of that story. I have been have a bad cough for 4 days. That is what is showing up now. So Vakshastadana Shankaya Vishalitaha Vaivaswataha. On seeing this Markandeya, whatever happened, Yama said, you can't handle this. Okay? That is, this talks about the greatness of the Padara Vindadvaya of Shiva. There he talked about you are using your two legs for so many hard jobs. So let me give you my manas as the paduka for you. Here it is a celebration of that padadvaya, padara vindadvaya. Because what he did just shook. That's why mrityur davati panchama iti in Taitra Upanishad. That's why it says Bishas madvatah pavate. We said no Bishote tisurya. Then he said finally mrityur davati panchama iti. That's what it said. He mrityuhu davitah. Vichalita. So he was so afraid of this whole thing. That's the greatness of the Padaradvaya of Parameshwara. So that is the first part. Then Nirjaraha. See, in Amarakosha, you will find all these synonyms. Amara, Sura, Deva, Nirjara. All these means Devas. See, Jara is old age. Nirjara is one who don't get old age. One who don't get old. That is one synonym of Deva. Amara is another synonym of Deva. Tasya marananubhuti nasti. Tasmat amaraha. So devas are those who are supposedly not to have marana anubhuti. They will not also go old. So nirjaraha here means devaha. Suraha, right? So nirjaraha. Same thing is coming. Koti rujwala ratna deepa kalika nirajanam kurvate. The Koti Devas, in fact, their Kirita, no? Kirita looks like a nice bud. Right? It shines. So beautifully it shines. So with that they are doing Nirajana. I mean, imagine that kind of imagination that such a shining different thing and Koti of them. And they are all coming and then they are doing their namaskara. It looks like with the light which is emanating out of this kirita, with as all gems are Ujjwala Deepika. It's like Deepa Kalika. Kalika is a bud kind of a thing. So Deepa Kalika is as though there is a nice buddy, flowery kind of a bright source of light with which they are doing Nirajanam. It looks like that. So the same event which was told in the previous shloka is retold here, but it is told in celebration of Shiva's Padara Vinda Dvaya. Right? Such a Padara Vinda is that we are Kurvate, Kurvata, Kurveta, Kurvate, something like that. I think it's a plural of that, I think. Kurvate. Okay? Kurute. Correct. Kurute. Kurvate is the plural. Now let us go to the last. Yat chetaha tava pada padma bhajanam. It actually needs a verb. It is just stopped there. Bhajanam what? So, we need a verb. So, I think contextually we have to take kurvate eva, but kurvate is in plural. But when you write in prosody, there are certain things which are permitted. Sometimes plural is used to use substitutes because there are so many other constraints. There is a meter constraint, there is a lagu, guru constraint, all those are there. So generally it is allowed in any poetic references. So same kurote only we have to take now because it's an implicit verb here because the bhajanam requires a verb. Some verb form is required, right? So kurute we have to take, but it is kurvate actually. So, yaha chetas tava pada bhajanam. So, that pada padma that we are talking about, that great pair of the pada, which has such a great power with which it did all those stories are recollected again, right? If somebody can do the pada sevana of that, what more, what more is going to be difficult? That's what the last line says, okay? Tasya iha kim durlabham. What is going to be difficult for him? If he can achieve this, he can achieve anything. Because this is the highest in the order of things. If they are able to do such a powerful, great Padara Vinda, you are able to, your chetas can be fixed on it and then you can do a bhajanam of that. Okay? What more that you need? Then there is a third line. It says, Drishtva Mukti Vaduhu Tanoti. Right? Vibhrutaha Aslesham Bhavani Pate. Now, the question is, what is this Drishtva? The Drishtva can be actually interpreted in two ways. One way is the Drishtva can be used for this person who is in the last line. He saw all that. And having seen all that, he thought, oh, such a great Padara Vindadvaya, if I worship that, nothing is going to be difficult. That way you can use Drishtva. Or the Drishtva can be used for Mukti Vadu. Mukti, this ultimate liberation we are all craving for, that Mukti, is portrayed as a Vadu. Right? Vadu is a young, lady, no? So, Mukti Vadu Drishtva, what did she see? She saw the first two. The first two lines can be used for it. The Drishtva can be interpreted anyways. So, Mukti Vaduhu Drishtva, Kim Drishtva? Vakshastadana Shankaya Vichalitaha Vyavaivasotam Drishtva. Okay? Nirjaraha Kotihi Nirajanam Kurute Drishtva, even looking at that, we can think like that. Or this Drishtva can be used for this person who, instead of two, he'll have the third one now. What is the third one? Mukti Vaduhu Tanoti. Mukti is like Vagartha Vyava Samprukta. Vagartha Pradipatya, we say, no? Vag and Artha cannot be separated. Like that, Parvati Parmeshwara, like that, Shiva and Mukti are inseparable. That is the idea. So, Asleshanam or Alinganam, essentially, what does it indicate? It indicates Shiva and Mukti are inseparable entities there. That's why this idea of Alinganam is brought there. Okay? So, on seeing that, this person, Yaha Chetaha Tavapada Padma Bhajanam Kurute, okay? Tasya Iha Kim Durlabham. What is going to be very, very difficult? If they can achieve this, that is ultimate that you can achieve. Then, of course, Bhavani Pate, right? Because Mukti Vadu Stanoti, that's why it says Bhavani Pate. So I have been telling in Shivanandalahari, in most of the shlokas, there is an appropriate use of Shiva's name. It's Bhavani Pate. This Bhavani is a very beautiful word. Shankaracharya, I think, must have a very special liking for the word Bhavani. Right? In Soundarya, I keep saying this. Bhavani tvam dase mai vitara drishtim sa karunam iti stotum vanchan kate iti bhavani tvam iti yaha tadaiva tvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim mukunta brahmhentra sputa makuta nirajita patam. Bhavani tvam dase. I am your dasa. Mai vitara drishtim cha karunam. Your chakshusi, let your karuna kataksha fall on me. This Bhakta wants to say that. This is what in his mind. Bhavani Tumda say, Mai Vitara Drishtim Sakranam, iti stotum vanchan. He has not told. This is in his mind. I have to make this prayer. He simply said, Bhavani Tvam. Tase. Moment he uttered the word Bhavani Tvam, in fact, this Bhavani Tvam can be attached and say Bhavanitva. This is Tadita. Bhavanitva is becoming Bhavani, the attribute of Bhavani. That way also you can, if you want, join. Other words, the word Bhavani is I wish I were. It's one of the Bhu Sattayam. It's one of the Lakara. So I wish I were you. You can take it like that, or you take the Bhavani and the Tvam and then connect it and say Bhavani Tvam, right? Tadasmai tasmai dishasi nijasa. Devi said, you uttered only this much, I will give you that. See how he celebrates the word Bhavani. In Devyaparadhakshamapana stotra, 2 times he used Bhavani. Beautiful sloka. I love this entire. We last time in our retreat, we are every day reciting Devyaparadhakshamapana stotra. I'll take those 2 slokas. Very beautiful slokas. Because Shankaracharya's use of Bhavani has been very special. Look at this first sloka, so beautiful. Chita basmalepo garalamashanam dikpatadaro jatadari kante bhujagapadihari pashupatihi kapali bhutesho bhajati jagati shaika padavim bhavani tvat pani grahana paripati palamidam. First 3 lines talks about this person called Shiva. Now how is this Shiva? What does he put? He put Chita Basma. He goes to the Smashana. He takes that Chita Basma, no? That is what he adorns on his face. Not nice, applicable things and so on. So Chita Basma Lepa. This is the first description of, okay. Garalam Ashanam. What is his food? Hala hala. Bhavani only caught hold of it and then kept it here. Ashanam, what he eats is Garala. Garalam Ashanam. Okay, what is his dress? 4 directions here, no dress. Dikpatadara. His dress is just 4 directions. He doesn't have fancy dress. You go to the mall and buy every Sunday, you go and buy something, nothing of that kind. Okay, Dikpatadara. Okay, you see, at least looking good. Jatadhari, he is not even combed his hair. He is matted hair just lying there. Jatadhari. Okay, does he have some good ornaments? Of course, he has the ornament which is Bhujagapati Hari, Kante. He is not a necklace. It is actually a snake. Okay? Pashupatihi. Right? He is the pati of the Pashu. That's all. Okay. Now, Kapali. At least is he wealthy? No, he has only he takes this Kapala and asks for Bhiksha. Bhikshatana. You should go and see in Chennai. In Kapalishwara, the 10 days of car festival. Very good. 63 9 months will come in 63 Pallaki. Like that in Kapalishwara, there is a Bhikshatana also. Shiva comes as a Bhikshatana with the Kapala, and then I used to go from college. I used to go for Bhikshatana. Huh? Yes, yes. So, is he wealthy? Is he well endowed? No. He has only a Kapala. With that he is going. That's why he says, Hridaya Kathim Atyanta Chapalam, you are a beggar. Keep a monkey with you, you will get better. That's what, Acharya said in 21st sloka in Shivanandalahari. Anyway, Kapali, but with all that, he's called Bhutanam Isha. I mean, the descriptions are not at all interesting. He doesn't have a dress, he doesn't have anything garland, he is not endowed, he looks like, but Bhajati Jagati Shaika Padavim. He is Bhutanam Isha. Shankaracharya asked, how is it possible? I know how is it possible. He took your hand in marriage. Bhavani tot panigrahana paripati palamidam. So that is how he brought the word Bhavani here. You just see how he celebrates Bhavani. Bhavani tat panigrahana pari. In the next shloka, you see what he is saying. Again, it's a beautiful shloka. Na mokshasya kanksha bhava vibhava vancha pichana me na vijnana peksha sashimuki sukhe chapina punaha atastvam samyache janani jananam yatu mamavai mridani rudrani shiva shiva bhavani tijapatah. So he says, the next is again he uses the word Bhavani, but then he says what he says, give me one more janma. For what? He says, mokshasya kanksha is not there. I am not interested in moksha. It is a very hard nut. Let it remain. I am not really asking for moksha and all that. Na mokshasya kanksha. Okay? Bhava vibhava vanchapi. I don't want to, say I want to be born and I want to be the leader. Vibhava. I want to be the lord of things. That kind of desire also is not there. Na vijnana peksha. I don't want to become a great pandit. I want to say I am the most. I don't have all those desires. People may have, but I don't have that. Okay? Hey Sashimuki. Sukhe chapi napunaga. I am not even asking for sukha. A lot of people, just go and pray, give me some sukha. He says, I am not even asking for it. Okay. Ataha tvam samyache. But I am asking you only one thing. Janani jananam yatu mamavai. Give me one more janma. I don't have a problem. Give me one more janma. No problem. Okay? Janani jananam yatu mamavai. For what? He says, Mridani Rudrani Shiva Shiva Bhavani ti japatah. I have to do japa only these 4 words. I want to say, I have to only do Nama Japa. That Nama Japa is Mridani, Rudrani, Shiva Shiva, Bhavani ti. So this word Bhavani, I mean, I am very, whenever I see Bhavani, these slokas always come to my mind. Acharya has a very special liking for this word Bhavani. So moment that Bhavani Pate I saw, I remembered all these shlokas. But anyway, so I think these 2 shlokas that we have seen, in the first sloka, he brought from Shiva Leelarnava 2 stories, the Markandeya story and the Apasmara, Sammardana story. And then, of course, the 17th sloka of Shivanandalahari was replayed in some ways. And he said, your pair of legs have so much hard work to do. So therefore, use my mind as a nice paduka for you. It will protect you from all hard stuff for you because it is harder than that. And in the 65th sloka, he celebrated that Padaravinda. See, such a great Padaravinda, if only we know how to offer our pranams to this Padaravinda, what is going to be difficult? Nothing else in life is going to be difficult. So these 2 are pair of shlokas which makes us to think. And this thinking about this apasmara, this thing that we talked about, Katina apasmara sammardhanam. I think this shloka, when we are able to understand the meaning and then when we recite the shloka, there lies the hope for removing our apasmara. The ajnana that we are all living with, that should come to our mind. When we look at the shloka, read the shloka, that ajnana, that Dakshinamurti Swarupa must stand in our chitta, that he has to show his grace to us and remove that apasmara which has perennially caught hold of every one of us. And we are stuck there, and we need the grace of Lord Shiva in the form of Dakshinamurti, in the form of a guru who will come and then help us remove that apasmara. I think that's a very interesting Vedantic concept, not just only a bhakti, because we are seeing it in the context of bhakti also. It's a great concept that all our apasmara must apakaraniyam, apasmarasya apakritva punasmaranam, swayam smaranam. That is what we need. I think with that prayer, we will close today's session here. Continue next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.